This episode of CRM Audio is brought to you by Dynamics 365 User Group. CRM-UG is the world's most influential user group community of Microsoft Dynamics 365 and CRM users and partners. Across the globe, members share a common goal of maximizing and advancing the performance of Microsoft Dynamics 365 so that individuals and companies can improve operations, overcome obstacles, and exceed goals. We thank CRM-UG for sponsoring CRM Audio, the Microsoft Business Applications podcast. All right, so I have a couple of Power Apps items that I thought were interesting that aren't news but are news to me.
Sure.
One is that if you use a Canvas app, you need to republish it at least once every 6 months.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the reason is because the product team is making changes all the time to Canvas apps, and they only guarantee backward compatibility for 6 months. And they say if you don't republish every 6 months, they recommend once a quarter, but at least every 6 months, it might get unpublished because you're not going to get the latest performance and scalability updates.
So, and it's really just republishing it and getting any updates from the core Power Apps. It's not it's not like you have to make changes to the app and then republish. But my question would be, in the ways that you've deployed it. So if you give access to everybody that's in your tenant, that's one thing. But if you're trying to use it is a preview feature. But if you're trying to use the packager, then you're having to redeploy every 6 months. Then is that what that means?
Oh, it says we recommend that you update and or republish your app within 6 months of last publishing to keep it in sync.
Right.
I take that as just republishing it.
Right, but if you publish it and then you package it, is the package based on the last publish, or is it connecting through?
I don't think the ID changes and stuff. I think if you share it or package it or share it with your organization, I don't think you have to reshare it. I think it's just going in and republishing it.
That's something I need to check on, because that's an important distinction. I have no problem with the republishing if you've just shared it to everybody in your tenant and that's how they've gotten it, but with the URL. But
so here's something else. Here's something else related to it. If you do share it with everyone in your tenant, you need to make sure you not only share the app, but if it leverages CDS, you need to give them permission, a security role in CDS or Dynamics that gives them permission to those functions, so those entities.
But you wouldn't have to give them permission to any of the connectors or the external data sources.
No. But if you're using CDS, they need to have a role that gives them access to the entities in CDS you're using.
Okay. So the best method would be using a connector to bring data into CDS, give the permission to CDS so that it's exposed, so you don't have.
Yeah, it's a two-step process.
Sure.
Number one, grant access to users in the Canvas app, and second, share access to the two entities in their security role in CDS.
Interesting.
So
yeah,
I think this stuff will get a little bit more refined as we go along. We're still fairly early on in the new world of Power Apps and CDS.
I'm hoping that they give some ability to set and auto publish, periodically, rather than having, because there's going to be folks that forget.
Ooh, could I have a flow that automatically republishes my app, maybe?
Or a flow to remind you to publish the app at the very least.
That's
exactly
called a to-do item.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got this thing called a task list.
That's right. I did do
Tell me more, Joe. What does it do?
I did play with the VSTS connector for Flow, and with mixed results. Some of the dynamic values are not what they seem to be, but I was if you're familiar, and not talking to you guys, but to our audience, if you're familiar with VSTS and you get assigned a task or a work item and you'll get that email reminder, sometimes those email reminders are annoying and they really fill up your inbox, and maybe you do look at them, maybe you don't look at them. I was working it with a flow to send that directly to your Outlook tasks and set a reminder. so that way you have that experience. The thing I ran into is the URL dynamic value in VSTS connector doesn't give you the same URL that you'd get with the email. It gives you it doesn't take you to VSTS work item. It just displays a bunch of garbage. So still working on that, but interesting concept. It's fun with Flow.
That's interesting.
Maybe the new segment, Fun with Flow.
My mom's name is Flo.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so the other thing this week, they just announced the sessions for CRMUG Summit, or they put it. The schedule should be up now. If it's not, it will be shortly. And I got selected for several. Sean, I believe you got several selected. George, did you submit any topics?
Yes, one.
Did you get in?
Yes.
Good man. Good man.
So I got a little insight because working on the planning committee on how the sessions are selected, and what we do actually is we take the name of the people off the sessions because we're not picking by the presenter but more the topic, and so
blind tasting.
Yeah, exactly.
What you should introduce is the author pitching, a session. Given 3 minutes to pitch the session, but you should change the, the voice changer. So it's like talking like that. Everyone sounds like that and presented.
I was thinking of what are the things that make a winning conference or CRMUG summit submission. Sean, what do you think you should shoot for to increase your likelihood of your session being selected?
I definitely think the generic session description and title description that's just talking about core functionality is much less likely to be selected than having a well thought out scenario behind it. One of the key technologies within the Dynamics 365 platform is a big thing. So in my programming group, we looked at cloud and connected services. So we were looking at Azure functions. We were looking at descriptions with Power Apps or Flow, things of that nature, to where it was really calling out some additional features or functionality that everybody could learn from, as opposed to, here, I'm going to create this Flow button.
Right.
We've seen that a bazillion times.
Yeah, there is one other thing, and that's exactly, I think I did mention it in some comments, that how-to sessions at the CRMUG, they typically have less tractions than what is this about kind of sessions. So think about maybe taking down a notch if you're a developer, taking it down a notch, and instead of showing how, to explain why we're doing it and what we're doing. And to give you an example is the session I've been doing for quite some time for developers was about Azure integration, just going broad about Azure integration. And I did have few people attending, mostly kind of developer, architect, scenario kind of people. But then at CRMUG in EMEA, I kind of taken down a notch the level and started talking about cost of Azure integration.
That's a great topic.
Yeah, and basically had a bit of fun with it, comparing different kind of level of integrations and how much does it cost, how to evaluate the cost, how to, the budget, why developers having difficulties understanding the implications of certain things. So taking it down from level kind of 300 plus to level 250, I still showed a bit of code, but the emphasis was on kind of architecture in your integration and monitoring it. And I had a full room of people, and I submitted kind of similar topic to CRMUG, and it got accepted because it appeals to broader audience. So what people tend to forget that CRM-UG is about using Dynamics. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about. It's not so much about, everyday developers struggle and how to. It's more, going level up and appealing to people who use Dynamics day in day out.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and I use that same methodology in our programming committee, and it actually eliminated one of my own sessions.
that's
So
called shooting yourself in the foot.
no, I mean I had to say, okay, based on what we've just agreed upon, my session doesn't count. It does
So
not work.
you committed a session suicide.
I did, but that shows that what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
CRMUG Harry Carey.
That's right. But I think the positive thing on that is the level of sessions that you're going to get at CRMUG Summit. I think we're raising the bar a little bit, and
Aren't you gonna get them all from the same person now?
No,
No, I don't think so. And I think here's the thing too.
Don't we all know the person who got like 17 sessions or something like this?
Well,
Basically, a room allocated to them.
yeah, well,
Yeah. The other thing is make it specific to a certain role. So like if you're going to do mobile, do like mobile as a salesperson or something like that. That way you stand out. Or pick things that people are less likely to also submit the same idea. So if you choose case management or something like that, there's probably a lot of things about managing cases. We know that Sarah and Clarissa own that category. So, but that's why I focus on some of the newer things like some Power Apps topics or unified client interface, things like that. That probably not as many people were going to have session topics about that. Or the other thing is you could go with the gimmick, and that's why I'm doing contact management with the Avengers.
oh God.
So, which Avenger do you think I should dress up like? Do you think I should be Thor or Thanos? What do you think, Sean?
Oh my goodness sakes! I've
can't
never felt more aligned with George on this podcast ever.
Oh, here's my idea. Because I love spoilers. All the inactive contacts are going to be people who died in Infinity War.
Oh, see, now that's no good. Now you lost me.
I thought I did tell you guys that people who die in Infinity War are the people who didn't renew their Marvel contracts.
Yeah, pretty much. But still, it doesn't matter.
All right,
But
I'm going to be Thanos.
the other thing I found what is helpful, and I think I pointed it out, is that inserting numbers into your session title helps. Like 47 tricks to pretend you know JavaScript lands better than the title using Gulp in continuous integration development in JavaScript. Use some numbers. 23 tips for JavaScript developers is gonna land better. But the word pretend, fool, impersonate always picks the winner.
Start your session name with the word aardvark so it appears alphabetically first in all listings.
AAA plumbing. Remember
Exactly.
those yellow pages days? AAA 21 tip.
And speaking of conferences, the other one that's coming up, other than the what conference formerly known as the Partner Conference, the one that I'm going to anyway is the Business Applications Summit. They have published the list of speakers and topics, and I gotta admit there's some good topics there. A lot of the Microsoft field engineering people are going to be there, and a lot of things about business applications and Dynamics and Flow and Power Apps and Power BI. Some really interesting session topics out there.
It's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to that as well.
I wish they published it a bit earlier.
So you had more time to plan?
People had more time.
Yeah.
Seriously, I have customers who signed up for Ignite, and I kept telling them that Ignite perhaps not the best conference for you guys, being users and stuff. But they insisted that because Business Application Summit doesn't have an agenda, they can't convince business to allocate funds to go to it. So I wish it happened earlier.
You know what I was surprised at was the number of sessions for project service. There was, I mean, there was 13 related to project service.
Aren't there more project service sessions than field service sessions?
There's two more field service ones, but
Okay.
I thought that was interesting. I didn't expect it.
Interesting. I noticed project service doesn't get mentioned, and in all the on all the slides they're talking about sales, customer service, field service, and then talent, and even marketing. But project service doesn't get mentioned, does it?
So now, Sean, you're in a project, a large project where project services is included, aren't you?
Yes, sir. We are implementing
So
project
what
service.
what is your take on it from working with it in the trenches?
I
What's the
think,
word for the front?
I think it's very very good tool. There are some limitations because of, but I think those are I believe some of those hopefully will be addressed in the July update. But right now the limitations are really focused around the inability to customize to the degree most customers would like. Microsoft Project integration is fantastic. The way that it presents work breakdown structure, timesheets have a little bit to be desired, but the work breakdown structure is great. Yeah, I like it. It as long as you understand what it is going in and you have clear expectations with your customer, I think it's great to implement. Once we have a little bit more ability to extend and customize, it'll be all the better. So yeah, I like it.
And indications are that it's getting more, that some of the limitations will be removed soon.
I'm hoping so. Yes. There's a number of things that are kind of clear that they need to fix. To be able to extend it in a manner that most customers would want to. It's not like pie in the sky. Oh, I have a project where this would be great. It's pretty common stuff. So like being able to do a little bit more with the timesheet and time entry, being able to do a little bit more with the project tasks, that sort of thing. So it's kind of locked down in terms of extensibility right now. But
so, what are your thoughts on the project accounting side of it? Because I know there's functionality in it that gets to accounting type functionality. Are you using that? Are you integrating with another billing and accounting system? What do you see most people doing for that?
Well, in my particular case, we are integrating with an ERP system that's going to handle all of that. So we're not using much of the project accounting. We are going to use some of the high-level reporting just to give a view into the project fundamentals for some of the business areas. But the source of truth, as it were, for the financial related stuff and projects will be through ERP.
Right.
But
that's in line with how most people use CRM as well. They don't typically send invoices from CRM,
Right. And it really depends on which ERP you have and what kind of project functions that you derive from there. We're integrating to an ERP to bring the project and the work breakdown structure into Dynamics, and then from there Dynamics is being used as the execution model for the project. So that's one take on it. Or you can definitely start the project from Dynamics, which using the universal resource scheduling and skills and characteristics, roles, the requirements, all of that to build your project team is really cool. I really like that a lot. and it allows you to really hone in on who should be doing what tasks within your project, as opposed to just putting people on stuff just because they have availability. So I do like that.
Good.
Yep.
Good deal. Are you going to be talking more about project service on at your service? You seem to have more field service stuff, but I think there's a genuine, right, from questions I've seen in the community, there's people who are interested in project service, and sometimes the information on it is kind of sparse.
Well, this right now, George, I think what you're witnessing right now is the Podfather does not listen to the podcasts other than CRM Audio. Yes, we did talk about resource utilization within project service in the last episode.
On last episode, but I'm saying, how many field service episodes?
He's producer. He's not listener.
I know. I'm just messing. What we had a couple months ago, we had quite a few project service back to back to back, and then we had a bunch of customer service back to back to back, and then we just went through a few field service back to back to back. So yeah, we'll be getting, especially when we get the July update and moving forward, getting closer to the Business Application Summit, getting closer to CRM UG Summit. You'll hear more project service stuff.
Is the
unified?
Unified?
We get a July update. July 2018 update. It's coming in November, right?
Well, but it's still called July update.
Right. Is the unified client is the UCI app for field service and project service out yet?
Not yet. No.
That should be coming soon. They announced that. They announced that with the V9 release. It was in the release guide.
Yeah, one of the advantages of having the apps separated, I think they could be on a different release cycle. So field service might as well release a UCI app out of band.
So that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, not lined up with the Dynamics core releases.
Yeah, and with the project service, field service, and universal resource scheduling, we're getting updates every month. So what we try to do at your service is fill everybody in on those monthly releases as best we can. But yeah, we'll be spreading out the commentary a little more, and we're going to be talking about probably.
Well, in my world of infrastructure, we get in releases every week, so and it's not clear. What's changed? It's a challenge.
Yes,
because
for sure.
CRM gets patched every.
Are you so the bad developer master classes are all finished for the year, or for the summer at least?
Well, we definitely not going anywhere this summer, but we are entertaining the idea of running a couple cities in US between CRM UG and Ignite. Because in Europe it went extremely well, so we had full houses in Amsterdam and London, and a very keen audience in Italy. But in Italy, it was hard ask because of the weather, the pasta, the wine. It's impossible to concentrate. But moving up north, we had a great feedback, so I think it's important to have something like this, and we're definitely gonna give a go to North America. Just not sure when exactly. Maybe between conferences. The whole idea of masterclass, it sort of started crystallizing as we went along, and the whole idea was that when we teach developers and to a degree architects and consultants and so on and so forth, when we teach them in class, typically all the curriculum is about the past or current features, right? What's there, what's available, how to use it, how to deploy, develop, architect, design things. People don't talk in official curriculum because of the timeline. It's impossible to talk about the features that are yet to come. So with this masterclass, what we try to do is put together the modules about the features people should start thinking about. Not necessarily use them today because they may or may not be there, like this audit checkbox, right? You may or may not see it. But the features that are yet to come, but they will come. They will definitely come. Or technologies that are in preview and so on and so forth. That, but they come in, and as developers, architects, you should be well aware of them and should start thinking now. Just to give you an example, are you guys familiar with the durable functions?
I've heard the word durable before.
It's not derived from the Scott Duro. It's not durable. It's durable.
So it's not like a Canvas app where you have to publish it every 6 months. It's permanent and durable?
Not quite. In functions, because if you want to wait for things to happen, for example, right, you're going to be consuming function time because you live in a footprint. You're just sitting there waiting, right? And it's going to cost you money because functions are charged. And to find out how functions are charged for, you have to attend my session at CRM So functions are charged whether you want it or not, and it just sits there wait for things to happen. So if you have a specific working patterns, like fire up a long-running task and then sit and wait for this task to finish, yeah, durable functions, they help you. They have a programming model where you can actually create those functions with it and don't consume any resources. So you can fire up a piece of long-running work, and then periodically check, are we there yet? But without consuming the same resources as you would with the waiting function. So the functions that implement certain long-running patterns, right? For example, one of the patterns is actually waiting for the user input. So it's quite interesting. But the fact is that until about a few weeks ago, they were in preview. Now you, Joel, as an enterprise architect or working on enterprise projects, what is the probability of you sneaking in a feature that is in preview into the project?
I would say low, but I have done it before. If it solves a real need and we test it out, I'm hesitant to do something mission critical that's in preview.
Yeah, exactly. So, but now they are generally available. So when we were talking about them, I think they were still in preview. But by the time we deliver it in London, they went GA. I think that happened in between. So we were talking about the features that are yet to come. I don't know. How can you, Joel, do the training for the, let's say, for the app designer about the features that are yet to come? Can you do it?
If you have, if it's a preview feature, you can show it and train on it. I just did a call this morning or earlier where, like last year when relationship insights were in preview. Right. We showed them all the time and showed people this is coming. I think we discouraged people from going whole hog into using them.
Right.
But we had people, at least one or two, who started playing with it and using it for some users, and it's not bad as long as you use caution. So why don't you, George? Why don't you look at doing one in Phoenix for like right after the CMUG summit? You go into Phoenix, stick around for another day and a half for the masterclass.
No, it's other way around. So we're thinking of doing between Ignite and Phoenix.
Okay. I was just saying it would be in town,
Yeah, I know, but people don't stick around after the conferences. That's why, for example, CRM-UG runs pre-conference training and had better success with it than some other conferences had with post-conference training.
Because after the conference, everybody's got a hangover.
As well as, and people just want to go home.
Yeah.
And people overload it, and whilst pre-conference or out-of-band training lands a bit better. So we'll see. I'm thinking maybe Atlanta and maybe Toronto.
Cool.
So we'll see. So masterclass, it did land well. We'll do it again. We'll definitely do it again, and we'll talk about the features in developers' world that are yet to come, that are yet to surface, like IoT Central, for example. It is there, it's in preview, but as Joel said, I wouldn't run my mothership on it.
All right, so Sean has an update. You have an update about the summer camp, don't you?
I do indeed. We closed our call for proposals, and it was very successful.
Did you accept mine?
Did I accept yours? Did you submit one?
Oh, good. Good.
I forgot to submit my proposal. Can I?
Yeah, yours is already in, Joel. I already
right.
yours was
tell me what
submission
I'm talking
2.
about.
Voice of the customer is what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
How to piss people off with surveys.
You got it. But yeah, it was very successful. We had quite a lot of submissions, which made me very happy, and a really good amount from our MVP family, which was great. So we're going to be doing the final review of those tomorrow, and we'll start notifying folks as soon as next week on their acceptance within the summer camp. So I'm very excited about that. You know, it's going to cross project service, customer service, and field service. We have all kinds of different partners and a couple of customers involved. A very, very large number of MVPs, which is great. And I'm super excited.
So how is the presenting going to work? Is it going to be a series of Skype meetings, or how is that going to work?
So we're going to use the CRM-UG webinar infrastructure. So if you've ever done a webinar or attended a webinar, that is the format. So I believe they use GoToMeeting, if I'm not mistaken. So what we'll do is once you've been accepted, you'll get the template for the PowerPoint presentation that you can use. We'll work with you to understand any requirements you might have in terms of being able to present or show anything, if there are any, and then you'll have a webinar essentially set up with CRM-UG for your time and day, and that's how we'll run it.
Well, if I've acquired my Thanos costume by then, I'll show my webcam.
Well, and like I told you, I will have the Infinity Gauntlet soon, so and the gems do light up. So. But
awesome.
But yeah, I'm very excited about that. That's Sarah Critchley and I have been working very hard to get this up and running, and it's looking better every week. So that's going to happen first week of August 5th through 7th right now.
This has been CRM Audio, the Dynamics 365 podcast. Send us your feedback at voice@crm.audio. Check out our other shows at crm.audio or subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, and any place else podcasts are offered. This podcast is a production of Dynamics Podcast, LLC.